Hello, and welcome to Trust Your Oats, the podcast dedicated to pulling back the curtain on the journey of gluten-free foods, from the soil to your shelf. I'm your host, Dale Tenhulzen. For years, I've been immersed in the world of agriculture, specifically in the challenge of producing truly pure, uncontaminated gluten-free oats. It's a journey that starts long before the seed is planted and ends with the food you trust to feed your family. In this series, we're going to walk that path together. We'll explore what it takes to ensure purity at every step. And we're starting today with the very first promise you see in the grocery store aisle, the label. So, what does gluten-free really mean? And why do oats, a naturally gluten-free grain, present such a unique and complex challenge? This is episode 1, Trust the Label. Picture this. You're standing in the cereal aisle. The shelves are packed with boxes, all making promises. All natural, heart healthy, and there it is, that simple, reassuring phrase, gluten-free. For millions of Americans, that label isn't a lifestyle choice, it's a medical necessity. For the 1% of the U.S. population with celiac disease, that's over 3 million people, avoiding gluten is the only effective treatment for a serious autoimmune condition. But what does that label actually guarantee? Prior to 2014, it was a bit of a Wild West. The term gluten-free had no standardized legal definition in the United States. A manufacturer could simply decide what it meant to them. That all changed when the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, stepped in. In August 2013, they issued a final rule that created a uniform standard. As of 2014, for a packaged food to be labeled gluten-free, it must contain less than 20 parts per million, ppm, of gluten. Now you might be wondering, why not 0? Why 20 parts per million? It's a practical and scientific answer. First, 20 parts per million is the lowest level that can be consistently and reliably detected in food using validated scientific methods. Going lower would mean we couldn't accurately enforce the standard. Second, extensive research has shown that this tiny amount, equivalent to 20 milligrams of gluten in 1 kilogram of food, is tolerated by most individuals with celiac disease. So when you see gluten-free, no gluten, or without gluten on a product, you are seeing a legally binding promise. It's a manufacturer's declaration that they have met this federal standard. For most foods, the story might end there. But for oats, this is just the beginning of the conversation. Here's a fact that surprises many people. Oats, in their natural state, are completely gluten-free. They do not contain the proteins found in wheat, barley, or rye that trigger a reaction in people with celiac disease. So if that's true, why is finding safe gluten-free oatmeal such a challenge? The answer is one simple but pervasive problem: cross-contact contamination. Think of it like this. Imagine you have a pristine, clean white shirt. That's our oat. Now imagine that shirt gets tossed into a laundry machine with muddy work jeans. Even if you try to separate them, chances are that white shirt is going to come out with a few specks of dirt. That's exactly what happens to oats. In North America, the agricultural system is built around wheat. Oats are often grown in rotation with wheat, harvested with the same combines, transported in the same trucks, and stored in the same silos. At every single step, there's a risk of those muddy genes, the wheat, barley, and rye, mixing in. And it's not a small risk. Scientific studies have been done on this for years. One Canadian analysis found that a staggering 88% of conventional commercial oat samples were contaminated with gluten above the 20 parts per million threshold. The contamination isn't uniform either. You might have a few stray wheat kernels in a multi-ton batch of oats, creating dangerous hotspots. This is what makes oats fundamentally different from other naturally gluten-free grains like rice or corn. They are grown and handled within the very infrastructure designed for gluten, making them guilty by association. Without extreme controls, contamination isn't just a risk, it's a near certainty. Understanding parts per million and cross-contact can feel technical, but for someone with celiac disease, it's deeply personal. When a person with celiac disease consumes gluten, their immune system attacks the lining of their small intestine. This isn't an allergy or an intolerance, it's an autoimmune response. Over time, this damage, known as villus atrophy, prevents the body from absorbing vital nutrients. This can lead to a cascade of serious health problems, from iron deficiency anemia and osteoporosis to neurological issues, infertility, and an increased risk of certain cancers. A strict, lifelong gluten-free diet is the only medicine, and that's why trusting the label is so critical. It's why the risk of a few stray wheat kernels in a bag of oatmeal is not a trivial matter. For a child trying to grow, for an adult trying to stay healthy, that trust is everything. It's also why some of us in the industry knew that simply relying on post-harvest sorting wasn't enough. You can't just wash the mud out of the white shirt and expect it to be perfectly clean. You have to protect it from the very beginning. You have to build a system based on purity from the start. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about in our next episode. We'll explore what it means to trust the seed, how a truly gluten-free oat program begins years before planting, with field history, seed integrity, and a chain of custody designed to build trust from the ground up. Thank you for joining me on this first episode of Trust Your Oats. I hope you have a clear picture of what that gluten-free label means and why, for oats, it's only the first chapter in a much bigger story. Join me next time as we continue our journey from seed to shelf.